Hey, thank you guys for joining me today. We just had Pastor Rick's sermon yesterday on parenting, and I think we're all blessed by it. I have the Craigers here with me, Mac and Allison, and the Roberts, David and Justina. Appreciate you guys joining me today. And we're going to have a little conversation about parenting. Both of you guys are teachers. The Bible commands us to teach God's Word to our kids. So how does that work in the home for you guys?
Nothing happens on accident. So it needs to be planned and intentional. So in our house, the few times that we're gathered around the table for dinner, I said earlier, we're definitely known to go through the Chick-fil-A drive-through a time or two. But when we're gathered around the table and we've had a meal, at the end of the meal, we'll ask the kids what was the best part and worst part of your day. That way we can kind of check their heart. And then we do something called family worship time. We just open God's Word, read it, and ask the kids, what does God say about this? What do you think? And that way we can intentionally be teaching them God's Word. And I like that they get to see God's Word opened in our home. It without actually saying, hey, we value this, they get to see that.
Yeah.
So
a big part of, because we teach kids on Sundays and your kids, and, we talk a lot about not just teaching, but we need to show them what it looks like to live for Jesus. So what are some ways, Craigers, that you guys try to show your children what it means to live out God's truth and what it means to live for Jesus?
I think his answer of intentional is so strong, and you implement that in the people and the lives that God puts around you. God has a path for you to walk, and people cross that path. And I think the easiest way for you to show your kids the love of Christ is to show it to other people.
That's good.
And I think we've tried really hard with neighbors and widows and single moms to really focus on those people and pour into them and invest so that our kids see what it looks like to actually live out, be in the hands and feet of Christ.
That's so cool. Our kids learn by doing, right? And so anytime we can get them on mission to go doing something or walking alongside us to see what it looks like to live for God is so cool. Discipline's a big topic in parenting. How do you discipline? I think everybody has, oh yeah, we do it this way, and theoretically that's going to work perfect. But in the moment, discipline could be super difficult because maybe the idea that you had on how it should look like in that moment, anger rises, frustration rises, and maybe telling them just go to the room and shut the door is easier in that moment. What are some ways you guys use to discipline your children? Because we all need it.
I kind of feel like we could fill the time up with all the things that we've done wrong. I'm grateful that Justina has just been, she's so gracious in these moments where I may be starting to have my temperature boil a little bit. She does a good job of kind of calming me down, calming the kids down, and she's so consistent with them. I don't know if you want to speak to that or not, but
I feel like each kid, the Lord made them and He knows what's going to work for them. And so prayer for each specific kid on wisdom on how to discipline them, I feel like has been huge for us. Like there's multiple times, okay, we don't know how to talk with our son about this. So we just pray about it, and then the Lord kind of reveals that. So I think prayer is a big part of it. And then I just think of Proverbs, train up a child. I think the word train is like my favorite parenting word because we just sometimes expect that they know how to be kind and they know how to obey. But what they know naturally is their sinful nature, right?
Yeah. On the training word, everything is an opportunity, is a teaching moment. And as a young father, I missed that sometimes because I had an objective in mind of whatever my life was going. But every moment's a teachable moment, and you should never waste an opportunity to discipline your child because it's actually going to create a better future for them. So I always try to think about the end result before I ever discipline. That way my anger doesn't get the best of me or my impatience or my immaturity, but rather think about what is the end result we're trying to go to? What am I trying to teach my child through this? And that kind of helps me know what discipline path I need to take. Just think about your relationship with God. I mean, the times you've grown the most is when you had to go through a moment of discipline where God was taking you down a path that maybe you would not have chosen for yourself.
Right.
And I think that's true in parenting. A lot of things our kids would choose that we not do for them, but they'll look back years later and say, that's because they love me.
One last thought that I want to get both of your comments on. I think that for kids, they get so much negativity in this world about their identity and who they are, and the world is constantly attacking who God has designed them to be. And so, and the parents, I think we're in a unique position to be the best encouragers for our kids. While we do have this discipline side, we also want to celebrate the victories in in their lives. So what have you guys found, that it's best to encourage your kids along the way? I'll start over here.
Our second loves words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Man, when he does something, if he's working with me in the yard, we're working on a project, man, Brooks, awesome. And you can just see him glow. So kind of calling out those opportunities to brag on him is something that we try to do as often as we can.
To touch on that about the love languages, I think that's important. I know it's different when they're young because they grow and develop, but the way I show love may not be how they receive it.
Yeah.
So I think we're able to see who needs quality time, who needs words of affirmation, who needs gifts, and we've actually been able to kind of figure that out with our children, and they receive that, and we're intentional. So it goes back to how we first started, just being intentional.
That's good. Well, I appreciate y'all's time today. I have learned a lot myself, and I know that our families will be blessed by this. And, our mission here at Christ Place, I say this all the time to parents, anytime I get a chance to talk to a lot of parents at once, is to reach and raise the next generation to live out God's truth, right? Well, we believe here at Christ Place that begins in the home, because the next generation is living in your house, and it's that next generation are the ones you spend the most time with. And so I hope this has encouraged you guys, and I hope it encourages our Christ Place families as well. So thanks for your time.